Alrighty, there we go. Little turkey in the straw. Welcome everybody to Mando Lessons Live. These happen every Saturday that I'm around. So not every Saturday, but most Saturdays. My name's Baron Collins Hill. I run MandoLessons.com and the YouTube channel. All that kind of stuff. And if you haven't been here before, I'd like to keep these nice and informal. Great time to ask questions. Love hearing what everybody's been working on. No question is too simple or too complex. It's all fair game. And great to see a bunch of people already in the chat. We've got Sheldon and Robert, Pelican, Melinda, Jeff, Matthew, Phyllis, Denise, and James so far that I've seen. Lots of familiar names in there. Great to see. Alright, Sheldon says he's still working on tremolo. It's a lifelong task, but keep it up and it only gets easier. Excuse me while I pour coffee all over myself. Let's see, what else we got going? Jeff asks, do I know the Falls of Richmond? I've not enough to start it. I know I've played it. The name sounds very familiar, but I can't quite pull it up in my head. Yeah, so I'm happy to do requests. The only thing I don't do are cover songs, pop songs, things like that, because that gets me in trouble with the YouTube copyright algorithm. So anything that was written by somebody is kind of off limits, but I'm happy to do traditional fiddle tunes, especially if I know how they go. Denise says, hello from Michigan and happy 50, everyone. Yeah, Denise pointed out that this is the 50th live stream that I've done. So there's quite a back catalog of these now. It's been well over a year now of doing these. And if you want to see old lessons, there's a playlist of them on my YouTube channel. You can also find them with the green button in the upper left-hand corner of my website, MandoLessons.com. And Denise has also put together some great PDFs of the old lessons with episode guides and kind of table of contents and a tune finding system. Very great, so you can try to find what you're looking for. It's all timestamped, so you can just click on the link and it brings you right to what you're looking for. Yeah, James is getting fancy with your high frets. Yeah, I got a little too fancy. Much easier, slower. There it is. Yeah, at that fast speed and kind of spur of the moment, I didn't quite pull that off as smoothly as I'd like to, but there's a little retry. That's the joy of slowing things down. The Pelican says, can you show me the arpeggio scale in C and go up the neck with it? Sure. We'll zoom in a little bit. So the Pelican's asking about arpeggios. And what arpeggios are is sort of, for those who are unfamiliar or have heard the term but don't know what it means, you're pretty much taking the notes of a C chord. So if you have like your basic C chord, open, 2, 3, open, you get that sound. And if you break it down and figure out what those notes are, you have G, E, C, and G. So the notes of a C chord are made up, the notes of a C chord are C, E, and G. You can also think of it as the first, the third, and the fifth note of a C scale. So you have C, D, E, F, G, and you have C, E, G. And so that makes your C, those are your notes of a C scale, and arpeggio is just playing those notes as if they were a melody or kind of one after another, rather than right on top of each other, which is a chord. So a C, we can start on this C on the G string. You also actually have that open G as part of a C arpeggio. It's just not a C. But you can start there and go C, E, G, C. So going across the strings, 5, 2, 5, 3. You can continue up from there, 3, 0, 3. And then what is that, 8? Yeah. So there's another higher octave of arpeggio. 3, 0, 3, and then 8 on the E string. Or you could take that and play it in a different spot a little further up the neck. Start with your pointer finger on the 5th fret. You go, what is it going to be? This is going to be harder to do than numbers off the top of my head, but it's 5, 9, 5, 10, 7. Oops, 7. Let's see. I got a little lost. So yeah, then it becomes 5, 9, 5, 10, and then the next octave is 10, 7, 10, 8. So that's a good way to kind of keep your hand in one position rather than having to switch. You can go up from there. So you've got 8, 12, 15 is the top end of your arpeggio. So that should keep you occupied a little bit and kind of work through those. The nice thing is once you get into that upper position, it no longer really requires, you know, what if you want to go to C sharp, you're just moving up a fret, everything. Oops. Things like that. All right, let's see. Catch up with that. All right, the chat's going crazy. That's what I like to see. I like it when I'm given the challenge of trying to keep up. Michael says, hi, Baron from Saskatchewan. Quick question. How do you think about the chords in modal tunes? For example, Swallowtail Jig. Are you thinking about the number system? I don't tend to think about the number system. With, like, you know, so, if people don't know, Swallowtail Jig and a lot of tunes in the Irish tradition are in often what's called like modal tuning. Technically, they're in Dorian, which is a minor mode. And pretty much their chords are often pretty restricted. Often the basic chords that you find in those Irish minor tunes, like Swallowtail Jig, you could think of it as 1, and your 1's minor, and then your other chord is a D major, which is a flat 7 major chord. 1, flat 7, 1, flat 7, and 1. And you'll also find other chords, like G will sometimes work, and C will work, A major sometimes. So because I don't know exactly how to describe this. This is a great question. I stopped thinking about numbers at that sense, probably because my brain just isn't used to it. But especially, you know, if you've got E minor and then you're going to a C major, you have to say, okay, so what is that? It's a 6 major chord, and then a G is a E, F, G is a 3 major chord out of E minor. And then your A major is going to be a major 4 in a minor song. Because it's not the same sort of minor as like Wayfaring Stranger. I'm a poor wayfaring stranger. So that's got like a E minor, an A minor, and an E major dominant 7. So that really has like the minor 1, minor 4, dominant 5, which is a very minor sound. But with, you know, half of Swallowtail Jig is really like major arpeggios. So this is minor arpeggio, and then this is major, minor, major, minor. So you don't get the same sort of continuity that you do in like a straight minor tune as you do in a Dorian or modal Irish tune. And so getting a little bit into the weeds here, but so yeah, I stopped thinking about chords. I don't know exactly how I think about them. I mostly use my ear, get used to that one, like the E minor and then the D, and then if you hear something like that's not one of those, then go for maybe a C chord or a G chord, and sort of build out your ear training of kind of what you recognize as like, okay, I know it when it's E minor or D, and then when it's something else, it's not gonna be one of those chords. So what are my next options to try? And there's a lot of trial and error, but the more you do it, the quicker you get at understanding that stuff. Lawrence, good to have you here. Jeffrey, can you try another instrument? Which instrument? I could try. I don't know exactly where to go from there, but if you can be more specific, I'll happy to pull something else out if there's something you'd really like to hear. Cool, Shirley, first time here. Happy 50. Thanks so much. Thanks for joining us on the half-century live stream. All right, Lewis is checking in from an old-time jam, Lincoln Pioneer Village in Rockport, Indiana. Later, a bluegrass jam in Dagonia Springs, Indiana. That's awesome. Sounds like you got a lot of music to play, so get back to it. Yeah, jam when you can and where you can. I'm excited because the weather's warming up and it's getting to be outside music playing time, which is my favorite time of the year. Okay, James says, what's that instrument behind you there? A bass guitar. Maybe this will fulfill another instrument as well. Quick little sidetrack. This is a very strange instrument. It's a tenor guitar, tuned octave mandolin tuning. That's a conversion from like a small 6-string guitar that Gibson made back in the day. And a friend of mine converted it to tenor guitar, put a Bigsby on it, and it's got an extra pickup. Turn it on. I don't have my mic next to my amp, but sounds like this. A little bit of that. So that's a fun new project I really want to get back into playing some jazz. I played jazz in college, but haven't really since, and I want to get some of that back into my life, and this thing is kind of good for country and all kinds of stuff. So that's a fun project. But yeah, a very weird instrument. Electric archtop tenor guitar, I guess, is what I would call it. Do the break to the stomp. I don't know what that is. My chat just jumped here. Okay, I gotta speed up on the chat. I'm never gonna get through it all. Is that a drop of coffee on your beautiful Ellis? The Ellis has seen all kinds of stuff. All right, AC, good to have you here. Glad you made it. Coffee has no effect on arpeggiation. That's true. Then Denise says it does when I drink too much. That's also true. Speaking of which. Kevin says, just learned Liza Jane. I learned a different version on the Mountain Dulcimer. Do you know other versions? There seem to be quite a few. Yeah, I do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to come up with any of them. Great tune. I know that there's a bunch of there's a bunch of different versions, and then there's like Big Liza Jane and Goodbye Liza Jane and all kinds of, and then yeah, I don't know much about all the specific versions of that tune and who played them and stuff like that, but I'll play a little bit of regular Liza Jane. Jane, Kia A. That one's on my website if you want to learn it if you don't know it already. Can I make a request for the leather breeches battling with lots of different lots of different variation? I don't know exactly what you mean there, James. Can I make a request for leather breeches? Oh, okay, I see. It's two different sentences. Can I make a request for leather breeches? I'm battling with lots of different variations at the moment. Ooh, leather breeches. I always get leather breeches and Sally Gooden mixed up. Oh, there it is. Speaking of a tune with a lot of different versions, that's one of them. So yeah, there's lots of variations on that tune. I'd say just kind of, I always just try to follow whatever else anyone else is playing with that one. Let's see. The Pelican says, "Can you do Ragtime Annie?" I'm not very good with Ragtime Annie. I kind of fake it every time. I want to make a lesson for the website, and then I'll actually be able to learn it for real. so someday I'll be able to pull out Ragtime Annie, but unfortunately not today. ACD says the major minor thing is a distraction in trad music. It's better to think modal, which is simpler without the major minor stuff going on. Yeah, a lot of traditional music uses language that's really, I think, in a way helpful, but also, also a little counterintuitive if you're familiar with normal music theory, like calling something modal isn't actually a thing. Like there are modes, so you're like in Dorian or Mixolydian or Ionian, but people don't use those words in traditional music. They just say like modal, which doesn't really mean anything in classic music theory, but it kind of has its own meaning in folk music. Mary says the video of Angeline the Baker from Simple to Complex was absolutely fantastic. Thank you. It really helped me think outside the box as a new player. I would love to see more types of these videos. Cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, that was Denise's idea actually. I think for that sort of thing, and I said, "Wow, that's a great idea." And I just actually put out another one on Cherokee Shuffle, and I got some more coming down the pipeline. Yeah, I really want to build out. I haven't done a whole lot of fiddle tunes, and I want to get back to making some fiddle tunes, but it seems like people also really are enjoying kind of the other thing. So I've been doing, the lesson itself on how to play the fiddle tune, and then I have the play along tracks as audio files and the sheet music. And then I've also been doing kind of the jam along tracks, and we'll do one of those at the end of this hour. If you aren't here before, or if you haven't been here before, we do a jam along. This one's going to be on Turkey in the Straw. That's why I played at the beginning, so I could remember. And then also the Simple to Complex. And I think by combining all of those things, you can really start to work on improvisation and double stops and things like that. And I think teaching new tunes is great, but it's also something that I'm sort of trying to get people to be able to do by ear. And I think by more fully filling out the fiddle tunes that I have, it's just going to be more ear training and stuff like that. And I'm going to continue to make new tunes. I've got a couple in the pipeline. I've got to be doing Gallopede, also known as something else. can't remember what, Yarmouth Reel. There was a big mix up there. But yeah, so there's a couple of fiddle tunes, and then also I'm gonna do some lessons with Noah, who we just put out that album last fall. We're gonna have him teach some of his tunes and some of the tunes that are on the album. It's gonna be a fun time. All right, JN, good to have you here. Just talking about the Yarmouth Reel and Gallopede mix-up. All right, Devon, first-time viewer from Southern Ohio. Great to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. Is it hard to transition to mandolin as a guitarist? I don't think so. No, I think I went the other way. I started playing mandolin and then picked up a 6-string guitar. I think the natural progression that a lot of people go through is, if your next instrument that you learn, especially if you're going from, guitar to mandolin, you still got all that information on in your right hand for using a pick and like how to navigate a fretboard. The only real difference is like the tuning of the instrument and the size of the instrument. So you're entering playing mandolin with a lot of good solid information that's going to help you pick up the mandolin quicker. So it's going to go much quicker than picking up your first instrument. And I think it's really a good thing to sort of take a mandolin and say, okay, so mandolin is like a guitar in this way. I just got to think about it like this and sort of connect it to what you already know. At the same time, I think once you've done some of that, it's really helpful to really get your mind out of that place and really start to speak kind of the mandolin language. It's like, I don't speak any other languages, but I've heard other people talk about, when you first start learning to speak French, you have to like translate everything in your head, but real fluency comes when you don't have to do the translating and you can really just kind of speak in that other language. And it's the same thing with learning instruments. Jeff says, loving that Gibson. Yeah, me too. It's fun. All right, DDA, good to have you here. AC says jazz, the Carolyn possibilities. Oh, Bluegrass Stomp. Okay, I see. That one is a Bill Monroe tune, unfortunately, and it's copyrighted, so I can't do that one. But it's a great tune, and there's some good I love Mike Compton playing that tune. And Bill, but kind of modern players doing that. Mike Compton's the top of my list there. Tom says, thanks for all you do. Do you think changing picks will help, or plectrums will help me build speed, or am I making excuses? I don't think it's the biggest variable. I think, I don't know, everybody makes excuses about something, but you don't need to be hard on yourself at the same time. But, I use a bunch of different picks for different instruments. I think picks are more about like the sound and the feel for me rather than how fast I can go. Like, I can go the same speed with any pick. So that's really thick. There's the other end of the spectrum, really thin. It's kind of all the same. It's just a different sound and a different feel. So pick what you like the sound of and what's comfortable for you. And you'll slowly... Speed is a hard thing because it's really cumulative. It takes months. It takes years. I've been playing for 20 years now, and I still am slowly getting faster. It's not something that you can be like... You can't rush speed. I guess that's a weird saying, but it just kind of takes time. There's ways to practice getting faster, and I've got some lessons on my website about that. But I would say, stick with the pick you like, but definitely experiment. If you've just like had one pick and you use it because you've had it, a great investment is, spend $5 or $10 on different size and shape and material picks and see what feels comfortable and what you like the sound of best. And I think you can get to any speed with any pick, but there might be one that's kind of a little more natural feeling to you, and that will help your speed. So it's worth experimentation, but I don't think it's really the major cause of speed there. Roanoke, that's another Bill tune that I can't do. All right, Leslie just registered for Fiddle Hell. That's great. I'm really excited to go. Fiddle Hell's a camp in Massachusetts that I've always wanted to go to, and I'm finally going to be there. I'm going to be teaching. When is it? It's in November? I can't remember exactly off the top. Hey, I'll be right back. Just got a bunch of flyers in the mail. So this, let's see if I can get it closer. This is Fiddle Hell. These are all the people that are teaching there. It says, what was it? 500 hands-on workshops and guided jams, 13 concerts. It's like hundreds of teachers, or maybe not hundreds, but tons of teachers. All kinds of instruments. Got fiddle, mandolin, cello, banjo, guitar, piano, bass, accordion, harmonica, singing, sound, you name it, it's in there. All different styles. It's just a jam-packed weekend. I'm really excited to be there. It is November 7th through 10th, 2019. And I'm really looking forward to be there. So if you're in New England, come hang out and play some mandolin. I'm going to be teaching mandolin and maybe some other instruments. And I'd love to see you there. I'll also be teaching while we're on the subject. It's a nice day out and summer's coming. On the subject of camps, I also will be teaching at Maine Fiddle Camp, which happens in June and August. There's a great mandolin contingency there. There's weekend long sessions. There's week long sessions, both in June. So there's weekend and a week in June, 2 weekends and a week in June, and then 2 week-long sessions in August. They're all great. If you're in striking distance of kind of central Maine, check it out. You just Google Maine Fiddle Camp. I'm there every year. It's always a really good time. Would love to see you there too. All right, now I got to catch up with the chat again. Could I play Coleman's March? Definitely. I'll catch up with the chat and then play some Coleman's March. Alright, let's see. No video. How to play Air Manalig. Oh, is that classical piece? The chat just jumped on me, but okay, there we are. I hate it when it does that. The chat just kind of jumps while I'm trying to read it, and I got to go all the way back up. Jeffrey says there is not any video about how to play Air Manalig. I don't know that. I can't remember if that's. I played some I don't know if it was Beethoven classical piece a long time ago. I don't think that was actually the name of it. It was something else. Anyway, I don't know what that is, but would love to hear it. Tom says it's a neat little camera angle change. Yeah, I like having my little foot pedal so I can go back and forth. Peter says, hi, I bought my first mandolin 4 weeks ago, and your lessons have been really helpful. Thank you. Thanks for watching. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Welcome to the wonderful world of mandolins. And just keep up the good work. It doesn't... it only gets more fun as you go, and it only gets easier as you go. So find some buddies to play some music with, or make some buddies by playing music, and it'll be a good time. And thanks for joining us today. Matthew says, what's the chord progression on the B part of Bill Cheatham? It's got a lot of them. It's in the key of A, D, E, A, D, A, E, A, D, E, A, E, A. That's one of those ones like Fisher's Hornpipe that just changes every beat. It's in the sheet music, the tablature and sheet music on the Bill Cheatham lesson page on my website, because it's kind of hard to follow that when it's rattled off so quickly, and they do go by quick. But check out the tabs, and you'll see the progression, and then you'll get it locked into your head. Pelican says, can you run arpeggio scales from B to a scale in E to a scale in B to scale in F sharp to scale. Okay, so you want arpeggios in B, E, B, F, B. So that's like B, E, B, F, B. Good question. It's been a little while with the key of B. All right. This is a little. And then F sharp. So yeah, let's do something like that. I'll stew that down a little bit. So we're going to use the same shape out of each finger. It's going to be starting with the pointer on the B string, or so the G string, 4th fret is a B. So let's do that. It's 4, 8, 4, 9, and then 6 on the A string, and then back down. And then you're going to end with that 8 on the G string. Then we're going to shift to our 2nd fret on the D string, which is an E. It's the same finger shape, and then back to B. Oh. And then F sharp, which is already underneath your pointer finger. Same thing. Oh, same finger shape, if I can pull it off. Sounds like this. If I can do it right. A little rusty on the old key of B there. But that's the general idea. And then from there you can kind of move around your arpeggios and find different arpeggio patterns, things like that. AC says, to me, modal means just play the white notes, then transpose. Andrew, thank you so much for the Super Chat donation. It says free Super Chat from YouTube. I don't know exactly what that means, but thank you all the same. Oh, cool. And then another Super Chat, also from Andrew. I loved the simple to complex lessons. Those are great. Cool. Glad you're enjoying them. And thank you also to Robert for the Super Chat. Looks like a bunch of Super Chats came through right in a row. Thank you all so much. It really helps me do these live streams every weekend or most weekends. I keep saying every weekend, but I don't do it every weekend, so I want to get away from saying that. But most weekends. And, keeping the website up and going and putting out new content and Super Chat donations and people who support me through Patreon and the PayPal donations and people send checks in the mail. Thank you all so much for the support. I really couldn't do it without you. Lauren said, can you play John's tune on the mandolin? So this is a tune that I wrote on the clawhammer banjo. I'll give it a shot on the mandolin. Let's see. It's in C on the banjo, so I'll try it on C on a mandolin. I've never tried, but it's fairly straight ahead. that chord there I'm looking for. There's a better way to do that. There it is. That was an interesting thing to try on the fly. A little bit of... So yeah, I recorded a solo clawhammer banjo album that you can find in the store section of my website, MandoLessons.com, if you want to hear the banjo version of that. Maybe I'll try to work up like a mandolin arrangement. I think it would work, as long as I wasn't just making it up as I would go along, and then I could make a lesson for it. All right. James says, are you aware of the transatlantic sessions? Yes, I love those things. TV show on the BBC for years. Great videos to be found on YouTube. Yeah, I spent a lot of time watching those transatlantic sessions. If people don't know the transatlantic sessions, look it up on YouTube. It's like Tim O'Brien and Jerry Douglas and Allie Bain and all these, Russ Barenberg, all these kind of changes all the time, but really great musicians playing a bunch of great songs and tunes. Just really high octane stuff. Patty on the Turnpike. I never remember how that tune goes. I wish I could. I'm striking out on your suggestions, but keep them coming and maybe we'll get lucky. Transatlantic sessions are great. I think the fifth was my favorite. Mike McGoldrick, Sam Bush, John Doyle, Bella Fleck, etc. Yeah, they always get great folks together. Home with the Girls in the Morning. Sounds like the Gilligan's Island theme. I don't know that one, no. Cool. Leslie says, hope to take one of your workshops. Look forward to meeting you. AC says, is a confirmed Mandaholic. I don't know if you're talking about yourself, because the way that comes out is AC Mullane is a confirmed Mandaholic. But, oh, alright. Yeah, every time let's see, Oop. Okay, cool, yeah. I just got a bunch of notifications because whenever anyone puts a link, it sort of flags it for me to make sure it's an okay link to post. So I just got all those. So yeah, the website is MandoLessons.com. A bunch of people have posted it below your question there, Phyllis. Saturdays just aren't Saturdays without Mando Lessons Live. Well, I'm glad you think so. I'm always happy to do them. It's always a fun time. Coleman's March. Yes, thank you. Forgot about that one. There's a little Coleman's March. Thanks for the reminder. I'd totally forgotten about that one. All right, we got a request for grandfather's clock. That I can do. Ooh, multiple requests. All right, let's see. I rarely play this tune. It was one of the first tunes I ever learned, but I just like don't play it all that much. See if I can remember it. Grandfather's clock long on the dresser, 90 years on the floor. Doesn't remember all of the words to the song. But it stopped short, never to put again when the old man died. There it is, a little bit of grandfather's clock. I guess I only know the first line of that one. Gotta revisit that. Bobby says, "What's the instrument behind you? How's it tuned?" Should have known that would have been trouble. So that was actually answered earlier, and I won't do the whole thing again. But it's a archtop electric tenor guitar converted from a small 6-string guitar that Gibson made for a couple years back in the day. It's tuned GDAE like an octave mandolin. So you can watch these live streams after they air. Takes YouTube a couple minutes to kind of transcode them so you can watch them, but 10 or 15 minutes after this ends, you can go back and I play a little bit of that thing. James says, "Can you play us something on the banjo or the fiddle behind you? Are there any? They are here every week and never get any love." Yeah, I'll play a little gourd banjo. I don't actually play the fiddle. That's my girlfriend's fiddle. Oh boy, let's see. Ooh. That's gonna have to do. These friction pegs I can sit here and tune all day. But yeah, here's a gourd banjo. Let's see, what should I play? I'm in G-ish tune. I'm in G tuning, but it's tuned low. So that's probably more like C or something. No. Banjo brain. Let's see. Play Josio, great old time tune. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I think I lost sound in the middle of that. I noticed my thing. Sometimes one of my cameras likes to freeze for no particular reason, but I think I caught it. Let me know if everything's coming through good now. I hope you got at least some of that banjo. Let me just check. Cool. All right, so there was a little of that banjo. Yeah, sorry the banjo demo got short. Can't trust these computers. All right, let's see. Gotta catch up. I'm gonna do a quick catch up with the chat, and then we gotta play a little bit of Turkey in the Straw. So get your mandolins out and tuned up while I catch up with everything, and we'll jump into that pretty soon. Thank you so much to Josh and James for the super chat donations. Very kind. Josh says, I've been trying to learn to play for a few months. Now, I'm new to fretted instruments in general. I've learned some two-finger chords and can play simple songs from your lessons. Thank you. Thanks for the donation. Thanks for joining up this Saturday, and thanks for picking up the mandolin. The more mandolins there are in the world, the better. So keep up the good work. Cool. Jan's been working on ornaments on Coleman's March. That's one of my favorite tunes. Played that for a contra dance a couple days ago and rekindled my love of that tune. Let's see. Josh says, I'm having a hard time learning to articulate my ring and pinky fingers. Yeah, that just takes a little bit of time. If you've been playing a few months and you're new to fretted instruments, it takes a little bit of time, but just keep at it, and those fingers will get a lot more agile. Cool, people playing along with Coleman's March. Oh, AC says, my poor deceased auntie taught me grandfather's clock. That's very sweet. Yeah, it's a great old song. Spoiled Rotten Only Kid says, do you still play the trombone? I've never played the trombone, so the fiddle and the trombone are my girlfriend's instruments, so I can't make pleasing sounds on either of those things. Flop-eared mule. If I've got time, I'll try to do a little flop-eared mule. Yeah, my girlfriend plays old-time and Irish music on the fiddle and button accordion, and is learning the trombone, and currently in Louisiana learning to play Cajun button accordion. AC says, get a set of Whitners for the banjo. Haven't tried them, but I want some for my steel nylon. Oh, those are the things that look like friction pegs, but they actually have gears inside. I've thought about those. Okay, let's see. Yeah, and then we had the audio problems. Exercise for ring, pinky, play a tune using only those fingers. Yeah, that's actually something I've done in the past. Like, the more you want to not do it all the time and develop bad habits and overstress those fingers, but you can, find exercises or try to play tunes using only the fingers that you feel are falling behind. All right, I'll play a little flop-eared mule, and then we'll play whatever we're playing. Turkey in the Straw. So here's a quick little flop-eared mule on request, and then we'll get into jamming. So get your mandolin out if you haven't already. Flop-eared mule. Love this tune. Flop-eared Mule, classic. Paul says, just curious about the backing tunes and songs. I seem to be using the same bog standard G, D, A minor, E minor, B minor chords, etc. Is there anything I can do to make it a little more interesting? Definitely. In the technique and fundamentals section of my website, brain went blank there. What am I talking about? Oh yeah, I was trying to remember what they were called. I think it's called like 2-finger chords. And I do them in a couple different keys. I think there's a D, a G, and an A, like in those different keys. And there's a lot of stuff you can do, you know, rather than playing. You can do. And that's what I do a lot of the time, is really just play on those bottom 2 strings, the G and D. It kind of leaves more space for melody up top, and you can give a little more rhythm in your right hand without overpowering things. Stuff like that. Great question, though. So yeah, check out, I don't know where exactly in techniques and fundamentals it is, but they're in there somewhere. Maybe, is there like a chord section? I can't remember off the top of my head. So let's play a little bit of, oops, I'm still on the close one. Let's play some Turkey in the Straw. So the way this works is, we'll start out, I'll play the melody, you play the chords, we'll swap back and forth a little bit, we won't go too fast or anything, and if you need to speed it up, you can come back to this lesson or other lessons, and after it's all transcoded and YouTube puts it back up. I think you can do this on live streams. I'm honestly not sure, though. I'm quite sure you can. But you can speed it up or slow it down to fit your speed. And yeah, if you already know the tune, it's a great time to work on double stops and improvisation and things like that. And if you don't know the tune, this is a great time to, you know, just kind of jump in and see if you can get a note or two as you go along. And there is a full lesson on my website for this tune if you want to learn it note for note and don't already know it. So, not too fast. Let's see. Somewhere like that. So, I'll play the melody, you play the chords. 1, 2, 3. You take it. A part again. B part again. You play chords. try some double stops, things like that. A part again. This is the B part, spacing out. B again. Going out. AC says, interesting tuning. I hope I'm in tune with everybody else. More or less. Not the most in tune I've ever been, but cool. Well, that's always fun. At some point, if I haven't already, I'll make some like play along jam and simple to complex videos for Turkey in the Straw, because that's a fun one. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for the super chat donations and PayPal donations and things like that. Links in the description if you're interested in any of those sort of things. And I will not see you next week, but I think 2 weeks. Ooh, oh yeah, I keep forgetting about next week's tune. How about Tom Bigby? That's a great tune. And it's on my website. And it's a great waltz. People are always thinking about waltzes. So let's do Tom Bigby. That's a great idea, Denise. Kia G. Also just recorded it on my banjo album if you want to hear a banjo version. Cool. Yeah, next tune, Tom Bigby, Waltz. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one in a couple weeks. Not next week. Let me just make sure. Gotta go to a wedding next week. Today. Oh, too many things in the calendar. Let's see. Yeah, so not next week, but the week after, I will be here. So, see you then. Thanks so much. Happy picking until next time. Bye-bye.